Hello, this is Tip Top Gaming here today with another MTG Arena Throne of Eldraine video. This should be the last video today unless they release something new. But yeah, we're going to be covering a bunch of spoilers, like a ton. I didn't make these into a fancy little presentation because there are so many, so I'm just going to read what the card does, tell you whether I like it, why I like it, etc, etc. So, Steelbane Hydra is a rare 0/0 green X, and as all Hydras are, and I love Turtle Hydra. It also is going to definitely go in my Hydra deck. You can enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it, and then you can pay 3 and remove a counter from it to destroy target artifact or enchantment. I think this is going to be a very good card. Now, this was previewed in MTG Arena and has a number higher than that of the amount of cards, which you can see on one of these eventually. Sorry about that. You can see it here, 269. This is clearly much higher than it, so this is clearly going in a deck of sorts. So now we do have the deck list. So yeah. This is Fairy Formation. Again, this is from MTG Arena, and yeah, it's a 5-cost, 5/4 rare with flying, and you can pay 4 to create a blue fairy creature token with flying and draw a card for 4. This is really good. Now we have the Royal Saiyans, which this is one of the first time I've seen 2 Planeswalkers represented by the same card. It's a blue-red Planeswalker, and I was confused because normally there's 2 to 3 Planeswalkers in a set, and you'll see in a second why I was like, oh, so they're gonna have 4 because there's 2 others. But they decided to combine them into 1 card, and they have the subtype Will Rowan. So it had +1 of draw card, discard card. Then a +1 of target creature gets +2 and gains first strike and trample until end of turn. And then draw 4 cards. When you do, they deal damage equal to the number of cards in your hand. So that would happen 3 turns after. You better have a way to... I guess this is a 3-cost, 5 loyalty Planeswalker, so I guess I can't complain that much about it. It does seem good for the draw card, discard a card. I just don't think it's that great, especially for a mythic rare. I'd much rather play something like Narset. Belle of the Brawl, which is a 3-cost black 3/2 with Menace, and whenever it attacks, knights you control get +1/+0 until end of turn, which is a theme in this deck, or in this set of knights. I just realized it's off-centered. Gluttonous Troll is a 3/3 black and green creature troll with trample, and when it enters the battlefield, create a number of food tokens equal to the number of opponents you have. Again, this was previewed in MTG Arena and is in the Brawl decks, and so it might be a good reason to think that maybe multiplayer is coming to MTG Arena. I don't think so, but it could. Then you can pay 2 and sacrifice another non-land permanent, and it gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Of course, that synergizes great with the commander. Then we have Chittering Witch, which is a 2/2 4-cost creature human warlock rare. When it enters the battlefield, create a number of 1/1 black rat creature tokens equal to the number of opponents you have. Again, something that benefits off of having multiple opponents. And you can sacrifice a creature, and target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn. Again, synergizes great with that commander. We have Embereth, Sky Blazer. It's a 4/3 4-cost. As long as it's your turn, it has flying, and whenever it attacks, you may pay 3. If you do, creatures you control get +X/+X, where X is the number of opponents you have. Again, useful. And again, maybe one of these doesn't go inside of the deck. I don't know. I think that there might be 2 of these per deck, it seems like, the number of opponents you have. Silverwing Squadron is a 6-cost flying vigilance star, and its power and toughness are equal to the number of creatures you control. Whenever it attacks, create a number of 2/2 white knight creature tokens with vigilance equal to the number of opponents you have. Whenever 1 or more non-human creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, draw a card. I mean, I guess that's okay. I mean, it's good, but it's non-human, and I guess that doesn't really matter in a lot of decks, but it's good. I'm just going to leave it at that. Then we have a 6-cost 5/6 with flying, and as long as it's your turn, as long as you control 4 or more artifacts, it has hexproof, and then you can tap 2 untapped artifacts and draw a card. Workshop Elder, that's really good. Why that is so good? At the end of your turn, oh, you have a bunch of food tokens? Okay, at the end of your turn, I'm going to tap 2 of them and draw a card. I'm going to tap another 2 to draw a card. So that is a very good card. Again, it's in the Brawl deck. Workshop Elders, this is again in the Brawl deck. Artifact creatures you control at flying. At the beginning of your combat on your turn, you may have target non-creature artifact you control become a 0/0 artifact and put 4+1/+1 counters on it. Yeah, I guess. I think one of the better things here is artifact creatures you control flying. Each player sacrifices 3 creatures. You create 3 food tokens. Okay. Witch's Oven. This is crazy in the deck it's in. Tap, sacrifice a creature, create a food token. If the creature had power 4 greater, create 2 food tokens. So in the deck where every time you sacrifice something, something happens, this is a total of 3 triggers because you are sacrificing a creature. Then we have Thorn Mammoth. It's a 7-cost 6/6 with trample, and when it or another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Thorn Mammoth fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. While that isn't a may, it is an up to 1 target creature, so you can basically deny that. Arcanist Owl, this is again in the Brawl deck. It is a 3/3 with flying, and when it enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal an artifact or enchantment from among them and put them into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Okay. That's again in the you do need white and blue, and this is in a deck with 3 colors, so it's not gonna come out turn 4 generally, but it's okay. Shine Chaser again. This isn't a commander deck. This is a 3-cost 1/1 flying vigilance, and if you control an enchantment or artifact, it gets +2/+2, or if you only control one of those, you get +1/+1. I'm sorry this is going really fast. I have a lot of these to cover. Like, if you guys want to take just a quick little gander, I have to cover all of those. We have already gotten through a decent amount of them. Okay, then we have Banish into Fable. When you cast a spell from your hand, copy if you control an artifact. Then copy if you control an enchantment. You may choose new targets for the copy. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. You create a 2/2 white knight creature token with vigilance. So you get to bounce, 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 bounce. But if you don't have an artifact or an enchantment, then this is a really expensive bounce. It's okay. This is a 3-cost, also that's in the deck. This is a 3-cost enchantment. Whenever a knight you control attacks, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain a life, and you can pay 8, sacrifice it, and return all knight creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. That's awesome. I don't know how useful it is. I mean, it's useful. It's good for Brawl. I don't think it's going to see any standard play. Steel Claw lands. Also remember, guys, these cards in the Brawl precons are also good for Commander. So don't just think about them as, oh, I don't play Brawl. Think about them as, oh, this is the Commander card. Steel Claw Lance is a 2-cost equipment. Equip creature gets +2/+2. Equip tonight 1. Equip 3. Then we have this, which if you guys don't know how that works, you guys should check out my video where I talked about the adventure mechanic specifically. It's called The Adventure Mechanic Explained. This is Rose Thorn Acolyte. And you can add 1 mana of any color, and then you can tap it to add 1 mana of any color. So you probably would play this like turn 2 to turn the green into any color, and then you'd play it for 3 the next turn or whatever. Or you could use this 1 mana, I guess, to copy it. I don't know why you would, but you could. I don't know. If you had something that could only be used to cast sorceries or something, that might be something you might want to do. Or if you have, like, when you cast an instant or sorcery, do this. We have Corbold. I talked about all the commanders, so I'm not going to go over them in detail in this video. If you want, you guys can check that out. I'm sorry, there's just a lot of cards. And then we have a Windscarred Crag, which is a tapped land that gains you life. That was in M20, but it's now in the commander decks, or the Brawl decks. We have Savvy Hunter, which when it attacks, create a food token. You can sacrifice 2 foods and draw a card. It's okay. Again, it works well in the deck it's in. Command Tower, amazing land. Doesn't do anything to standard, but it's awesome in Brawl. Again, something we have in M20. Other knights you control get +1/+1. An Anthem effect, similar to that of the Vampire one. Frogify, enchant creature. It becomes a blue frog with base power toughness 1/1. That's fine. And it also loses all other card types, so if it's an enchantment creature, it's no longer an enchantment. Animating Fairy, target non-creature artifact you control. Becomes a 0/0 artifact creature, put 4+1/+1 counters on it. We saw this on another card earlier, and then a 2/2 with flying for 3. It's okay. Corridor Monitor, it's a 2-cost 1/4, and when it enters the battlefield... Okay, let me go back to this animating fairy now that I'm thinking about it. I think it's great because it's not that bad. I mean, it's not great, but it's not that bad with when you don't get to do the bring to life thing, but it's an option, and options are king. But yeah, Corridor Monitor is a 2-cost 1/4, and when it enters the battlefield, untap target artifact or creature you control. It's okay. Shining Armor is a 2-cost flash equipment, and when it enters the battlefield, attached to a knight, and they get +2 defense and have vigilance. I guess this would be useful in defense. The vigilance and the +2 defense kind of cancel each other out with the flash, because the idea is, oh, you know, you attacked and you thought we were going to trade, or, you know, oh, you attacked and you thought it was going to die, but nope, it's not actually going to die. But the vigilance kind of doesn't work with that, because you've already declared them as attackers. Vulnerable Knight is a 1-cost. When it dies, put a +1/+1 counter on target knight you control. It's a 2/1. Not bad. All That Glitters, enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact and or enchantment you control. That is amazing for 2. It's crazy, especially when you get something like that one card. Oh my god. It'll be up here in a second. We'll talk about it then. Shambling Suit, when its power and toughness equal to the number of artifacts or enchantments you control. Tome of Legends, it enters the battlefield with a page counter on it. Whenever your commander enters the battlefield, put a page counter on it. And then you can remove a page counter from it and draw a card. I think it's kind of garbage. I'm sorry. Okay, now we're getting into cards that are not just part of the Brawl deck. Whew. So, this card goes inside a Rats deck. It says Rats you control have Menace, and then you can create a 1/1 black rat creature token and sacrifice 3 rats and gain control of target creature. This I am building a deck around. Guaranteed. You will see it. It's called Rats deck. Woo! So you guys should see that. I'm gonna get more into posting gameplay of stuff soon, because recently I've been doing a lot of news, because that's been a lot of stuff, but I'm getting into doing more gameplay. We have Bake into a Pie, which is destroy target creature, create a food token. We have Killing Fire, which says deal 3 damage to any target. If you pay 3 or more red mana to cast it, it deals 4 damage instead, and it's a 3-cost instant. And this is kind of like Devotion. I mean, kind of. We have this one, which is Silver Flame Ritual, and put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control, and then if you pay 3 or more white mana, creatures you control gain Vigilance. So, of course, this is one of the mechanics in the set. Now, I know you guys all see this, and this is the title of the video, probably. But we have to get through these guys first. If you pay 3 or more red mana to cast it, enters battlefield +1/+1 counter, and it's haste, and it's a 4/1. Cool. Again, I'm just going over these because a lot of these are just kind of basic cards I'm not a big fan of. I will mention it if I love it or like really like it, like that one rat guy. This guy, he's Jack and the Beanstalk. It's Beanstalk Giant. It's a sorcery adventure. Search your library for a basic land, put it on the battlefield, then shuffle your library, and then its toughness and power and toughness are equal to the number of lands you control. Again, it synergizes with both sides. I really like these cards so far. There hasn't been one that's like, oh, that's just not good. I've liked a lot of them. This is Garruk. I don't know why I clicked on it. It is one of the Mythic Planeswalkers, and it's really good. It's the Liliana or Chandra of the set in terms of how they're marketing it. It is a 6-cost 5 loyalty, and it ultimates at 6, but it doesn't have a +1. So how does that work? Well, you get a 0, create 2/2 black and green wolf creature tokens with, when this creature dies, put a loyalty counter on each Garruk. So if you spark double this guy, it'll put it on each one, and so you'll be theoretically putting 4 counters on him every turn. If you can get them killed, you can -3 to destroy creature and draw a card, and then you can -6 to get an emblem with creatures you control a +3/+3 and trample. This works really well at Tolzamir, which if you guys don't know what that does, it's when a wolf enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life and have it fight something. No May trigger, but you can just go kill it, and then basically this just says gain 6 life, put 2 loyalty counters, +2, gain 6 life. That's what this says, and I guess theoretically you could kill things with it as well. So that's crazy. A -3 that can destroy stuff and draw a card. That's crazy. It's just overall really good. Heraldic Banner, you choose a color, creatures of the chosen color get +1 attack, and you can add 1 mana of the chosen color, so it pays for itself it doesn't pay for itself, but it makes it only cost 2, but you have to have 3 to cast it, if that makes any sense. Either way, we have Wintermoor Commander. It's a 2-star card for 2. It's a human knight, and it's equal to the number. Its toughness is equal to the number of knights you control, and of course it has death touch, so it doesn't really matter. I mean, 2 isn't nice because if you hit something like a planeswalker or player, it does more damage. But yeah, and whenever it attacks another target knight you control gains indestructible. So you'll have a death toucher and an indestructible person coming at them. Next, you have Circle of Loyalty. It's a 6-cost legendary artifact, white. If you notice, there's a lot of colored artifacts, which they said they love doing. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each knight you control. So theoretically, since knights are kind of cheap, this would cost you 2. Creatures you control get +1/+1. All right, love it. Just playing it. Whenever you cast a legendary spell, create a 2/2 white knight, and then pay 4 and create a 2/2 white knight with vigilance. I love this card. Of course, it's mythic. But yeah, you only need 1 of them for a brawl deck, so yeah, and it's not considered historic, so you don't have to pay 2 wild cards. You can pay 4 and get a 2/3 with double strike, and you can pay 4 of the same type that you paid to cast it, and it gets +1/+1, which really is +2/+1, which is good. Ember Shieldbreaker is an adventure card, and it has a sorcery that says destroy target artifact, and then it's a 2/1 for 2. So I guess I like this because you could run this, I guess, main board in a best-of-1 game, and it's a 2/1 for 2, which isn't that great. I'd rather play something better, but it does give you the option to destroy that artifact. Then we have Tournament Grounds, which is amazing for a Knight's deck. It doesn't enter tapped. It taps for a colorless mana, and then you can get one of any of the colors of the commander, but you can only use this to cast Knight or equipment spells, which is pretty much everything. So this is basically another command tower, although it can't activate abilities. Sir Conrad the Grim, whenever another creature you control dies or a creature card is put into a graveyard from anywhere other than the battlefield, or a creature card leaves your graveyard, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. So you throw this in a mill deck and Persistent Petitioners, and then boom, 12 damage to each opponent. That's not exactly true. It has to be a creature. But yeah, every creature you hit will deal a damage to them. And if you want to play like a mill yourself kind of deck and have Jace as a secondary win con, you can do that too. Okay, then Follow Me or Knight's a 1/1 for 1 Death Toucher, and you can pay 3, the adventure mechanic. I'm not going to keep going over this. You can draw a card and lose a life. Overall, I love this card. 1/1 for death, 1/1 for 1 Death Toucher, especially with Zombie and Knight Tribal. That's pretty crazy. I think this card will be pretty good, and it's an uncommon. Then we have Curie Favor. You gain X life, and each opponent loses X life, where X is the number of knights you control for 1. That's pretty good in a Knight's deck. Otherwise, it's absolutely garbage. And it's a 2/1 with lifelink for 2. We have cards in Standard right now that are just 2/1 with lifelink for 2. Oh my god, we're almost at the end. Order of Midnight is a 2-cost flying with that can't block, and it's a 2/2. And you can alter fate. Return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand, and then do the whole adventure thing. Then Midnight Clock, add blue, put an hour counter on Midnight Clock for 3, and at the beginning of, by the way, you can use the blue that it creates to do that. At the beginning of each upkeep, put an hour counter on Midnight Clock, and then on the 12th hour count, when the 12th hour counter is put on Midnight Clock, shuffle your hand and graveyard into your library and draw 7 cards, then exile Midnight Clock. So you're basically, you're getting rid of everything and restarting just you. And it does say each upkeep, so this will happen 6 turns later. If you just let it happen naturally, of course you can pay more, but you're paying a lot of mana for this, so it'll probably be something that's probably found in some Proliferate deck where you can just quickly do this, and then, that. Then we have Rankle, Master of Pranks, who, this is a great card. It's a 4-cost, or at least I love the card. I'm not saying it's great. It's a 4-cost, 3/3 with flying and haste, so he can attack the turn he comes out, and whenever he deals combat damage to a player, choose any number. I assume they mean choose any of these. So you can make it so each player discards a card, each player loses 1 life and draws a card, and each player sacrifices a creature. Remember, each player includes you, but, you could choose discards a card, loses 1 life, and draw a card, and basically everyone just paid 1 life to draw a card, then discard a card. And then you can make them sacrifice creatures. So if you... Obviously, you would have to have creatures, because otherwise you'd have to sacrifice Rankle. He's not that great, but he's fun. And then Feral Vandal, Fairy Vandal. It's a flash flying 1/2. Great. Simic Flash. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, put a +1/+1 counter on him. We have a Drake like this, except it doesn't have Flash and it costs more, and I think this is probably better. Marleaf Pixie, it is a 2-cost Llanowar elf that with flying and taps for green and blue and is a 2/2, so I guess everything about it's different, but in my heart it'll be a Llanowar elf. And then we have Tomb Raider. It's a 3-cost 1/1 flying. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. We have a card that is clearly better than this, except it's not a fairy. It's an elemental. Then we have Eye Collector. It's a 1-cost fairy and with flying, and when it deals combat damage to a player, each player puts the top card of their library into their graveyard. Now, you know how I said we were done? Well, not really. There are some cards I didn't cover yesterday. We have Witch's Cottage, which enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 3 or more other swamps. When it enters the battlefield untapped, you may put target creature card from your graveyard on top of your library. It's okay. It's a common. Crystal Slipper. Equipped creature gets +1/0 and haste and equip 1. Yes, that is amazing. It won't be nearly as good as obviously like Lightning Greaves, but it's still good. For the haste, Witching Well, when it enters the battlefield, scry 2, and then you can pay 4 and sacrifice it to draw 2 cards. So if you can do that on 1 turn, you basically scry 2, draw 2 for 5. Then you have Wishful Merfolk, which is a 3/2 with Defender, and you can pay 2, and it loses Defender and becomes the human until end of turn. I guess it's okay. It's 2 costs. Choose 2 different creatures controlled by different players. Return those creatures to their owner's hands. You do have to have targets for these, by the way. So, yeah. Then Golden Egg and Gilded Goose I did talk about in another video. So if you guys enjoyed this video and want to learn more about what was announced today, you guys should check out the rest of my videos I posted. I know there's a lot today. Normally it's not that many, but there was just a lot of information to go over today, including MTG Arena updates, Throne of Eldraine announcements, new set amount announcements, like the announcement that we're returning to Zendikar, Brawl decks were released, a ton of spoilers were released, MTG Arena is going out of beta, there's a new event in MTG Arena, so if you guys want to learn about any of that, I have a video for everything. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hit the like button, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.